Tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Alexandra. I was born in Macedonia. I moved to the United States when I was 11 years old. I finished high school and college in New Jersey. Then I went to California for a year, took a break, worked there, and then I moved back to the East Coast to get my master's in social work, and I went to New York.
When did you move to Chicago?
I moved to Chicago about 6 years ago. The reason why I wanted to move to Chicago is because I've always wanted to be back in a city. I grew up in a city. I miss the city life. And Chicago was the best option because my best friend lived there and the cost of living was much cheaper than New York City. I could never afford to live a comfortable life in New York City with the salary of a social worker.
Oh, so what do you currently do for a living?
So right now I'm a social worker at Loyola University, and what I primarily do is care coordination for outpatient patients at Loyola University who have primary care physicians that are connected with Loyola, and I work on a team with nurses and pharmacists as well as other social workers. So currently my focus is to actually help those patients that are admitted to post-acute rehab facilities. So when they go to rehab, I actually contact the facilities, contact their families, and try to come up with a good discharge plan that I can then also help the social worker at the rehab facility. I love what I do. I mostly work with older people, so I work with a lot of families.
Why did you choose to be a social worker?
So the reason why I wanted to become a social worker is because it combined my two passions, which is political science and psychology. It combines social justice and it combines helping people.
So what is the hardest thing about being a social worker?
The hardest thing about being a social worker is actually learning to stop and practice self-care. Many, many times you find yourself just keep pushing and just keep going. You want to try to help somebody no matter what, and then you end up burning yourself out. There's a lot of burnout in social work, and it's because it's hard for people to stop. You want to be the best you can be for those people that cannot help themselves. That's another reason why I wanted to be a social worker, is to speak up for people who can't speak up for themselves, who who don't have the voice, that don't know the system and can't help themselves.
So what is the most fulfilling thing about being a social worker then?
I think that is the most fulfilling thing about being a social worker, is to help those who don't know how to navigate, who don't know how to help themselves, who don't know how to start helping themselves. That's the best part, is when you hear that thank you at the end and you know it comes from the heart, because there's no other way they could have done it, unless you were there to help them along with this other team of nurses and pharmacists and doctors that I work with. So it's very fulfilling. It's awesome.
So if you could choose another career, what would it be?
If I could choose another career, and I always say this, I would probably be a housekeeper, because I love cleaning. I'm very organized, and I could just clean all day. It's very relaxing. It's very soothing for me. I could do it all day.
Wonderful, thank you.